dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good evening and Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Keaton Hall. PJM Interconnection, which coordinates electricity wholesales across 13 states, including Kentucky, is urging consumers to reduce energy as much as possible. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox details the difficulties power companies are undergoing and how consumers can help.
Power companies are asking you to conserve electricity as cold temperatures continue to freeze the country.
We're actually running short of electricity. If customers conserve, that gives us that margin so that we will have enough to get through the peak times, like the mornings and the evenings.
Power lines may be constructed for tough conditions, but the power stations are struggling.
The power lines are used to managing the flow of electricity, but the power plants aren't used to these sorts of really sub-zero or frigid temperatures.
Lowering your thermostat as much as comfortably possible is important, but there are other ways to conserve, even on this holiday weekend.
There are certainly people who will be cooking, but if you don't have to run your dishwasher and your dryer and your washer all at the same time, that's really helpful.
Bueller says turning off your lights can also conserve a lot of energy, and they feel confident these practices make a difference from past trials.
2,000 megawatts of power disappeared off the grid in conservation in a very short amount of time. So it does work if people can help us out.
Officials are hoping as temperatures start to warm up, consumers can soon return to some form of normalcy at home. In Hazard, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
And some good news for today. Most homes in the mountains continue to have power, and Governor Beshear actually just tweeted a little bit ago that there are no more planned outages, and tomorrow should be warm enough for road salt to finally work. But in the meantime, Governor Beshear is urging Kentuckians to stay home this holiday weekend and avoid the slick road conditions. State emergency management officials have reported road closures and wrecks since the Arctic blast hit. Beshear says problems continue mounting to the point where it's just better to stay home.
We are having dozens upon dozens of accidents across the state, interstates. As soon as we get them cleared, we have another issue somewhere around the state. It's simply not safe to travel right now.
Beshear asked for people to think about the risk they are taking when traveling on the icy roads and consider emergency responders that might have to go away from their families when a wreck occurs. Emergency responders had to transport flood survivors living in travel trailers in Crockettsville last night. At least 8 families were transported to Buckhorn State Park by first responders. Emergency Management Director Jeremy Slinker says utilities had failed in those trailers, but thankfully they are now safe.
All 8 of those families that hadn't already made arrangements arrived safely, checked in. We checked on them this morning. They're doing well. We hope when the temperatures move on, we get their trailers repaired and we get them back to a place of normalcy.
There has not been an update for when those flood survivors will be able to return to their trailers.
Well, the frigid temperatures continued throughout the day today, but the good news in this particular case, we were able to bring some of those temperatures at least back up into the double digits, and that's where they sit at the moment. Here's a look outside. London, actually kind of a beautiful shot there as what's left of the sunset continues to move further down the horizon. 14, though, the current temperature there feels like just 3 degrees. 12 in Hazard feels like 2. And at this point, Pikeville's sensors still out there. Still chilly in some spots with some wind chills still below 0, but many of us remaining at least low to middle teens out there. Look at Jacksboro getting up into the low 20s out there this afternoon. It remains quiet. We've seen a few clouds out there today. What you don't see on that particular map is, of course, the latest on Santa Claus. who continues to work his way through the region, and as he makes his journey through the United States. A little bit later on tonight, a load of mid-teens out there with chilly conditions. At this moment, he is making his way toward Mali in Africa, so we will continue to track the jolly old St. Nick as he heads through throughout the globe. He's almost to 4 billion gifts delivered so far. I'll have an update on the Santa tracker and an update on when we could see a little bit more snow in a few minutes. Keaton?
Thank you, Evan. Good to have you on the weekends. Despite it being Christmas Eve, some businesses were still open to offer folks one more chance to grab those final gifts. WYMT's Jordan Mullins has more from businesses and shoppers in Pikeville who are braving the weather for some last-minute shopping.
Several small businesses across the region were open on Saturday to welcome those finishing up their Christmas shopping.
These small businesses are open and here ready for these customers. We are prepared for all of those last-minute shoppers here on Christmas Eve.
In Pikeville, despite the winter weather, folks were lined up.
We've been pleasantly surprised with the customers that have made it out through the weather. We had lots of customers earlier in the week in preparation for the storm, but we are very thankful for the number of customers that we have seen despite the weather.
Grabbing unique, one-of-a-kind gifts.
Even on Christmas Eve, it's too late for Amazon Prime now, so we are here to give you the most unique selection of products from our corner here on 2 Chicks & Company to the opposite side of downtown over by the classy Stork to all over eastern Kentucky.
And helping small businesses this holiday season.
While we appreciate all of our customers shopping small this holiday season, you can shop small all year long with your favorite small businesses.
Braving the cold and ensuring folks have a happy holiday. In Pikeville, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Shoppers in Pikeville added that businesses being open on Christmas Eve was a lifesaver for those last-minute gifts. Coming up at 6, hundreds of cars trapped on the road in central Kentucky.
Plus, brutally cold temperatures combined with gusty westerly breezes keep it cold through the region when we start to warm back up in a few.